This is the European History Lecture for Friday, the 22nd of April, 2022. I will remind you, your job today is to see all of this video along with any other incidental information that I may provide on the Google stream, and to write a thoughtful, unique, one-paragraph comment in the comment section right below this, and have it in all done prior to 2 p.m. Friday, the 22nd of April, 2022, Pacific Standard Time, or Pacific Daylight Time. That means by 2 p.m. today, you need to have all this done and have made your comment. If you do that, you will earn an A+ on a homework grade for the fourth quarter, and there are relatively few of those. If you do not do that, if it's in late, it's going to lose a lot of points. If it's a partial nub comment, it's going to lose a lot of points. Probably it'll fail. If it's not in at latest by 6 a.m. Monday, it's just a 0. You're not going to be able to do anything later than that. Preferably, ideally, do a good comment before 2 p.m. Friday. That's today. And if you can't, for whatever reason, do a good comment prior to 6 a.m. Monday. Because after that, doesn't matter. Grades close on this particular assignment. So, we have talked about totalitarianism in Soviet Russia. Today, we move on to Italy. Actually, before that, there is something to be said about totalitarianism in general and communism specifically. This is from the insights of the novelist and journalist George Orwell, who is only one of 2 intellectually honest communists I know of, the other being Doris Lessing. Doris Lessing and George Orwell were both communists in their youth. Lessing was late 20th century, Orwell early 20th century. And Orwell cares so much about communism that he goes to Spain to fight in the Spanish Civil War on the side of the communists. But there he encounters Stalin's NKVD. And being a free-thinking Western communist, they decide that he needs to die and he has to flee Spain back to England or be murdered by Stalin's secret police. This is a man who cares enough about communism to go fight for it in the trenches of Catalonia. So, among other books he writes about his disillusionment with what is done with communism in this world, especially by Stalin, Animal Farm, 1984 in particular, has some insight into the way totalitarianism works. There is a ritual of purgation that people in Oceania, the England of the communist future, this dystopia postulated by George Orwell, from the future year 1984. It's called the 2-minute hate. And in the 2-minute hate, everyone in the office gets together in an auditorium in front of a telescreen. And in Oceania, telescreens look both ways. And they get a newsreel type report. But very quickly, you're not going to be able to hear the newsreel because everyone in the audience begins to vent their spleen, vent their bile, vent their fury and anger at the enemy. There are 3 countries in the world in Oceania's time in the future dystopian year of 1984. There's Oceania, which is basically the Americas, England, Japan, and the islands. There's Eurasia, which is basically Russia, and there's East Asia, which is basically China. And all 3 of these are different variants of communism, and they're constantly at war with one another. Well, at the start, Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. So people begin chanting this. And this goes on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And then, in the midst of the newsreel. In the midst of the chants, the relationships between the countries changed, and these are announced. So on the newsreel, Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. East Asia is our ally. Eurasia is our enemy. East Asia is our ally. Eurasia is our enemy. And what the telescreen is looking for is anyone who notices. Anyone who goes, huh? Anyone who does not immediately shift to the new chant. A little accident at first, but once the chant is understood, everyone is expected to, with equal fervor, Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. Eurasia is our ally. East Asia is our enemy. East Asia is our ally. Eurasia is our enemy. East Asia is our ally. Eurasia is our enemy. You don't think. That's the leader's job, Big Brother. That's the party's job, INGSOC, English Socialism. You don't think. It's above your pay grade. That's not your job to make judgments. Your job is to allow your cortex to be displaced by the leader, by the party, by the propaganda. You are a receptacle for whatever truth the party chooses to give you. Your job is to react with an enthusiastic yes to whatever the party delivers. So your truth is not rooted in an objective reality. Your truth is rooted in whatever the party tells you moment by moment, which changes. And when it changes, you're not expected to have any loyalty to what the party had been telling you before. Your loyalty is moment by moment to the truth that is given to you by the party. And to greet that truth with an enthusiastic yes. You won't be needing this anymore. You just say yes to the party. Your love is for the party. Your loyalty is for the party. Your dedication is to the party. You are of the party. The party is the body. You're a mere cell in its greater organism. You are a neuron in its greater nervous system. You say yes. 2 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 2 doesn't exist. Whatever the party says. And it's not just a matter of aping words. It's a matter of belief. You have to believe. That's the real key. It's not deception. It's not being like a willow and blowing with whatever breeze comes your way, because a willow still has roots in the ground. You're much more like seaweed floating with the current, unanchored to anything other than the current. It is the current that is true. It is the current that is the party, that is the ideal. You have to believe, really, really believe what the party tells you moment by moment. Not fake it, not feign it, believe it. Because if you don't believe it, the likelihood of you screwing up and accidentally slipping is too great. And the consequences of such a slip-up, too terrible to contemplate. Because it will be the death of you, the death of your personality. You will wish you want to die. And then you won't, because they'll brainwash you. And then they'll kill you. At the end of 1984, O'Brien, the party official, says to Winston Smith, the main character, imagine the future, a boot pressed into a human face forever. That is the future of totalitarianism. The boot of the party of the leader, distorting, oppressing, pressing into the individual until there is no individual at all. The ultimate goal is going to be achieved, among other things, through language. Every year, there's a Newspeak dictionary. Newspeak is the approved, politically correct language. It's woke. Doesn't have any of the old bad language. And every year, the Newspeak dictionary of approved words gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Because the goal is the destruction of language itself. Because language implies individual reality and individual judgment. What they want is what in the book is called a double plus good duck speaker. You don't need words like splendid, wonderful, fantastic. If something is okay, you don't need okay. It's good. That's all you need. Good. You can use good to describe any of those things. If it's unusually, extraordinarily good, it's plus good. You don't need to say, that's incredibly fantastic. It's plus good. Plus good. Smaller language. More efficient. More scientific. If it is something so glorious like words from Big Brother himself, it's not supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's double plus good. Double plus good. That's all you need. Language is being pruned of its extraneous words. Soon, people won't speak at all. Bark! 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 They'll quack like a duck, with all the thought that goes into a duck's quack. The party will engage stimulus. Beep, 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 and you go, bark, 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 bark. You are saying nothing original. The words do not come from a mind. They come from the party. They come out of your throat like a quack. Whatever the party says, you are just quacking. It's not cheering, it's not speaking, it's not booing, it's not reacting, because there is no longer a you to react to. It's the annihilation of the individual. By stealing their ability to use words, they steal the mind's ability to understand. Instead of having an internal dialogue, quack, quack, whatever the party says, you just shout it with great enthusiasm. Now, there's a modern philosophy that does this. It's postmodernist deconstructivism. We'll talk about that later in the unit. It's invented by Frenchmen who decide that reality itself is not real, and consciousness is overrated and also unreal, that language is a lie, culture is a trap, and that we've got to free ourselves from all meaning. Quack! And the way they function is by destroying language, opinion, reality, thought, meaning. None of it means anything. It's all social constructs. Recognize that? So Orwell's insights into totalitarianism, I think, are quite worthwhile. You make up your own mind, but you should have an opinion, because totalitarianism is alive and well in the world today. Now we shift to Italia, to the Itais, to fascist Italy. The Italians remember are, before World War I, part of the Triple Alliance of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. But the moment war is declared, Italy steps back and says, no, no, no. I am going to follow a policy of sacre egoisme, divine egotism, divine selfishness. And Italy began offering itself to whichever side would give it the most. But the truth is, only the Allies could give Italy what it wants. Because what Italy wants is the Austrian Tyrol, which is an area of mountainous alpine North Italy. Italy wants Istria, which is a peninsula sticking into the Adriatic Sea to the east of Venice. Italy wants Fiume. Italy wants a bunch of colonies. Italy wants. So the Italian leadership gets into the war. And the Italian army goes to fight against the Austrians in the Alps and in the area of Venetia, northeast of Venice. And they get slaughtered. The only people that the Austro-Hungarian army consistently beats are the Italians. Italian Supreme Commander Luigi Cadorna tries again and again and again to get through the Austrian lines at the Isosno River. There are 8 or 9 or 10 battles of the Isosno River. And each time the Italians fail. The Austrians hold the high ground. The Austrians have superior fighting forces. The Italians are being fed into a meat grinder. And there's very little sympathy between Italian officers who act like noblemen and Italian soldiers who are treated like scum peasant serfs. So the war becomes unpopular. And the only way the Italian leadership can justify it is by saying, well, after the war, it's going to be so great. Before the war, there is an Italian from North Italy who's a journalist and a socialist, Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini is a bull of a man, barrel-chested, strong, good voice, very charismatic. Strong personality, can project that to fill a room. Benito Mussolini goes to the front as a socialist journalist. He wants the new utopia. But he learns of war. He learns that, as far as he is concerned, the bromide of the International Brotherhood of Man is nonsense. He learns that brutality is beautiful. That viciousness is truth. That combat is where a man finds himself. He breaks with socialism. And after the war, Benito Mussolini establishes a new movement that's going to combine socialist ideas of improving the unity of the national economy. Workers, managers, businessmen, scholars, soldiers, government officials, bankers, artists, we're all part of Italy. So, Mussolini's idea is going to have a strong nationalistic component. But it also is going to have the idea that the economy is not owned by the wealthy, not by the plantation owners, the latifundista, not by the princes of business and corporations, not by the nobility, not by the king, not by the government. The wealth of Italy is Italy's to spend. The national will is going to determine how the wealth of Italy is going to be utilized. Italy is a successor to Rome. What Mussolini is going to build is a new Roman Empire. And the symbol of the Roman Republic is the axe wrapped in a bundle of sticks, the fasces. The sticks represent discipline within the Republic, the acts for the enemies of the Republic. So, Mussolini calls his new movement that fuses socialist ideas and nationalist ideas the Fascisti, the Fascist Party of Italy. And the uniform of the Fascisti, the Fascist Party of Italy, is the black shirts. Mussolini wants war, not the kind of war that was waged against the Austrians by the ineffective government, the kind of social war that will bring out the best in people. Look at society and how it drifts in peacetime. But when everyone understands that we're all in this together, in a war, we need one another. We've got to work together. So, what Mussolini wants is the moral equivalent of war. National causes that will cause Italians of all types to come together, rally around the flag, and function as one, to produce something more than the sum of their parts were capable of producing. He views war as a good thing, a clarifying thing. And when Prime Minister Orlando returns from the Versailles Peace Conference withoome and the suburbs around it, without all the colonies, without all the land that had been promised to Italy. In other words, all those Italians died fighting the Austrians on the Isosno front for nothing. So it seems. The Italians become angry, and the instability within their political system becomes worse. In 1922, Mussolini is going to produce the greatest theater in modern Italian history. He will start leading a movement of black shirts that are slowly gathering forces as they go from town to town, from city to city, marching on Rome. The black shirts will march on Rome. Now, this is a clear callback to the radical Giuseppe Garibaldi and his red shirts and their march on Rome. But the black shirts are going to march on Rome to clean house, to get rid of the corrupt, ineffective officials that gave us the war and bring us a new national purpose and unity. They made the government flinch. The government resigned and fled. When Mussolini arrives, he doesn't have to fight. He's offered the prime ministership by the king. It's as if you're a bully and you go back as if you're going to hit someone and they flinch, and immediately, without you having to say anything, they give you all of their lunch money. Mussolini made the Italian government flinch, and they gave him the country. What Mussolini begins to do is build what he calls the corporative state. The corporative state is a unity of business managers and workers who come together in councils with community leaders and fascist party officials. Together, we will plan so that everyone benefits, especially the owners and the fascists. The workers are going to have to largely suck it up and deal. Labor unions are converted into fascist corporative enterprises, where everyone, from the owner of the company to the lowest janitor and worker in the company, is part of this top-down enterprise regulated by the fascist party. The government and the fascist party will be involved in all decision-making. How much people are paid, how many hours how many of sick time they get, what benefits they get, so on and so forth, retirement. The government's going to be involved. Now, this sounds socialistic, and it has socialist elements, but the purpose isn't to build some utopia for the workers. The purpose is to unify the Italian nation, to bring workers and owners together to make national identity and fascist fervor more important than class distinctions, to out Marx. by trumping social class with nationalism. And for a while it works. Mussolini also makes a deal with the Pope. Remember how after the Italian unification, the Pope calls himself the prisoner of the Vatican? No more. In the 1920s, Mussolini's fascist government negotiates the Lateran Accords. The Lateran Accords are the agreement between the Italian government and the Roman Catholic Church that reconciles the both of them, formally creating the Papal State, which is the Pope's own city-state style nation, in harmony with the overall Italian kingdom. This is a good thing, and it's a big deal. In addition to this, Mussolini is going to make the trains run on time, which is something in Magnana, Italy, not an easy thing to do. Italy, like Spain, like Greece, is a sleepy southern European Mediterranean society. Don't worry about the schedule. The train will get there. It'll get there, and in Spanish they would say mañana, which means at some point in the undetermined future. Mussolini said, if any train is late in the Italian fascist rail network, heads are going to roll unless there's an undeniably, objectively real reason why the train was late. Mussolini, through sheer force of fear, makes the trains run on time. He drains a lot of swampland using government funds and distributes that land to loyal fascists, farmers, latifundistas, so useless swampland becomes productive farmland to grow more wheat for bread and pasta and other Italian foods like that. Mussolini is considered the man in the West, in the United States. Mussolini is lauded in the art of the Metropolitan Center, the Rockefeller Center in New York City. Some of the greatest art of the 1930s is made in Rockefeller Center, and a lot of it glorifies Benny the Moose, Benito Mussolini, and the fascists, because Benny the Moose and the fascists manages to apparently, from the outside, stop the hemorrhaging, stop the hemorrhaging that is caused by the problems between labor and management, by bringing people together in a corporative state. He has used government power and national, I'll be with you in a few minutes, and national identity to make sure that people in Italy are going to function as members of the same team. So in America, he's lauded, especially during the Depression. In Britain, he's lauded. In France, he's lauded. In Germany, he's lauded. Lauded, as in praised. Mussolini is the man on horseback, the man who comes in, the man of the future, and he takes on the old Roman military title at the end of the Roman Empire, dux, which is the basis of the Roman of the noble rank duke. The dux is a military leader who runs the military of a Roman province near the end of the empire. So he is called Il Duce, the duke, the leader, the boss, the chief, the man. So Italian fascism is going to build a cult of personality around Benito Mussolini, Il Duce. We'll come back to this next week. Write a paragraph about it. Watch any additional materials. Have a good weekend.